And now, dead from Huntsville Attic, it's Rockin' with Rockin Robbie and the 2014 Haunted Halloween Super Spooktacular Special. And here's your host, Rockin Robbie.
Hey everybody, welcome to Rockin' with Rockin Robbie! That's right, we are back from a very long sabbatical. That's right, we are back with our third annual Haunted Halloween Super Spooktacular Special! And
I
with
thought
me,
you were going to call it Rocktober.
Rocktober, I like that. Rocktober, that's right, it is Rocktober here in Huntsville Attic. Thanks for joining us. With me, as usual, Jumpin and Jivin James! Yeah!
It's really good to be back in the studio, guys.
Ah, yes, yes. Also, next to him, Hammertime Holshoe!
Hammer time!
Yeah, right.
Thank you.
All right, and next to him, we got the one, the only, Justified Justin!
Who's justified?
It's great to be here.
It's great having you here.
Thank you. It's like having you too.
Yes, all right.
It's awesome that he's actually on the same state as us. for
Also,
once.
long-time listener, first-time participant, ladies and gentlemen, Dashing Drew! Drew!
All right. Hey, how y'all doing? Like I said, long time listener. I'm dashing, so let's get this show on.
Dashing.
Road.
He's dashing. He's dashing. He's dancing. He's prancing. He's vixen. What? All right, wrong holiday, everybody. That's right.
Just
It's
a
the
little bit.
Haunted Halloween Super Spooktacular Special, and we are here. Thanks for joining us. Let's talk about what's the most iconic image of Halloween. Think about it. The pumpkin.
Santa.
The pumpkin. Santa. Yeah, that's right, John. The pumpkin. The pumpkin is great. What do we know about the pumpkin? Well, it's a squash, right? Of the squash family, related to gourds, I believe. They're round. They're smooth, slightly ribbed skin, and they're kind of yellow to orange.
It sounds like orange
come in green
condoms.
colors and light whites.
Oh, green and light white.
I've never seen. I've seen the white ones, like what was more a pale orange. There's green ones.
Yes, there's
Like-
Italian green ones. You roast them and eat them.
Like white ones are like albino.
Yeah,
albino
kinda.
pumpkins.
They're shunned by the other pumpkins.
They are native to North America, widely grown for commercial use. Two main uses for the pumpkin, of course, Halloween, the jack-o'-lantern, and Thanksgiving-ish pumpkin pie.
Oh, I love pumpkin
who doesn't
pie.
love pumpkin
Yeah.
pie?
Lots of whip,
pie is one of my
like 2
favorites all
pounds of
time.
whipped
Oh
cream
my
on top
God.
of there.
They're all right.
But pumpkins are good for soups too.
Really?
All kinds of other stuff.
I've never.
You can make pasta out of
Bullshit,
You
James.
can make
Don't lie to the
well,
listeners.
Pasta? You can make pasta out of a pumpkin.
Yeah.
Because usually you think the pumpkin's so popular, they grow everywhere here, and that's why we use them. But it seems like it's just pumpkin pie and pumpkin-flavored stuff.
them. Yeah, it does seem that way. But I've actually made quite a few savory soups and other kinds of desserts and things like that. But
That sounds.
they're very versatile. You
People,
just gotta roast them in the oven first, and then you can do anything with them.
People eat pumpkin seeds.
They're delicious.
Yes, they are.
Yeah, see, so Drew likes the pumpkin. I drink pumpkin beer.
Ah,
I like
not
it.
feeling
The
the
pumpkin
beer.
ale. I like it. I like it.
You can smash them and then use that act to name your band.
That's true, right? Why not? Of course, the jack-o'-lantern. I mean, we all have grown up making jack-o'-lanterns, carving pumpkins. It comes from the legend of Stingy Jack, and if you haven't listened to the very first annual Haunted Halloween Super Spooktacular Special,
Then go fuck yourself.
shame on you. But here it is again briefly. Stingy Jack, it's an Irish tale. It's about a drunkard and just a deviant named Jack. He winds up trapping the devil. He tricks the devil and traps him. Basically, he puts him down into a coin, puts him in his pocket with a crucifix. He then makes a deal with the devil that in exchange of 10 years of life, just like in Supernatural, he's going to be let go. So the devil lets him go, and 10 years later, exactly, he comes back to collect. Jack tricks him again. He says, before I go, would you give me one last earthly favor? Give me an apple from that tree. So Satan says, sure. Fetches up and gets the apple, and there's a ring of crucifixes around, so he's trapped up in the tree. Now, I thought Satan was a little bit more cunning than that.
Well, plus the guy only wanted 10 years. I mean,
10
that's
years.
it.
Apparently, that's what they give you.
Yeah, all right.
I don't know.
Well, back
So,
then you didn't live as long.
of course,
I-
then Jack makes the deal with the devil. He will let him go, but he can never collect Jack's soul. So Jack lives his life, his typical way of spouting, just being a drunkard, being lazy, being good for nothing, just a deviant,
Irish.
a punk.
Gosh
Jack then
darn it,
dies.
Jack.
He's refused by both heaven and, of course, hell, because Satan has to honor his word. And all of a sudden now he's destined to wander the earth with only an ember from the fires of hell to light his way. The term jack-o'-lantern first appears in 1837. In 1866, carved pumpkins are first associated with Halloween. And in the U.S., the carved pumpkin was actually associated with just harvest season in general long before Halloween. In fact, in 1900, an article about Thanksgiving encouraged carving pumpkins and jack-o'-lanterns for family as part of their festivities of the Thanksgiving holiday. Anybody else got any interesting information about the perfectly plump pumpkin?
Let's see. The largest pumpkin ever grown weighed 1,140 pounds.
That's a ton.
That's
crazy.
huge.
How
I think that's like half a ton.
Yeah.
was that Cinderella's
Slightly
carriage?
more than half. Yeah.
It is-
Wait,
yeah,
what
you're
was
right.
that?
It is
How
half
much?
a ton.
That's the heaviest pumpkin?
1,140.
Oh, Drew, you are incorrect. History.com
Uh-oh.
says the heaviest pumpkin weighed 1,810 pounds and 8 ounces and was presented by Chris Stevens at the Stillwater Harvest Fest in Stillwater, Minnesota in October 2010.
That's almost a ton.
That is very nearly a
Speaking of a ton, the largest pumpkin pie ever baked was in 2005 and weighed how many pounds?
4.
2,020 pounds.
That's a ton.
you're
A
really-
literal
yeah,
ton.
that is a ton.
That is crazy. Who would eat like that? I wanted to be Actually, I wouldn't want to be a part of that pumpkin pie. Everybody just digging in with their hands or something. It's just pudding at that point, right?
Yeah, well, and you wouldn't get crust.
You wouldn't get
and
crust.
stuff. You
The
would just
lucky
get,
few
like,
would get crust. The 1%.
No,
get
some
the
people
fucking
don't
crust.
get crust probably because the crust had to be like 2 inches thick to hold all that pie.
Ah, some people just get crust.
Me and John were talking about this earlier. Coincidentally, they broke other records that day, like having the biggest oven and the biggest spatula.
The biggest, Cool Whip container.
Absolutely makes sense. There's lots of pop culture references to the pumpkin. Of course, there's Cinderella's carriage, which was probably about a ton, if I had to guess. There's Jack the Pumpkin King, and from the Oz books, Jack Pumpkinhead. Also, Jack Pumpkinhead's kind of a character. Merv, actually, the Pumpkinhead, a character in Neil Gaiman's Sandman. Also, The Legend of Sleepy Hollow. The Headless Horseman.
And there's
right?
that Pumpkinhead.
No.
Pumpkinhead movie
No.
with Lance
Yeah.
Hendrickson.
Bishop.
Hey, at least Lance is in it.
Briefly.
So also Green Goblin and Hobgoblin, of course, toss pumpkins. So Smashing Pumpkins was around long before Billy Corrigan.
Oh, I'm confused. The band was around. He joined the band after the.
Oh, no, Drew's just corrected me. There's now a bigger pumpkin.
October 14th, 2014.
Oh shit.
The 2,058 pound, slightly more than an actual ton, pumpkin squashes the previous U.S. record after
for
only
clarification.
2 days.
Wow.
There's also
Apparently-
another
there was a big
record.
one 2 days before that.
Yeah.
Wow.
There's a record after that the largest pumpkin ever dropped accidentally. It was the following day.
All right, guys, we'll be right back here on Rockin' with Rockin' Robbie right after this message from our sponsor, Corn Bits. He's got the Corn Bits.
Corn bits, cornier than Robbie's one-liners. Here we go now.
He's got the corn bits, yeah.
He's got the corn bits, yeah.
He's got the corn bits, yeah.
Getting the corn bits.
He's got the corn bits, yeah.
He got the corn bits, yeah.
He's got the corn bits, yeah.
We're getting the corn bits.
He's got the corn bits, yeah.
Who couldn't use more corn in their diet? Try our crisp and refreshing cereal, Corn Bits. They taste delicious and they're fun to play with. Hey kids, be sure to ask Mommy and Daddy to grab a box of our brand new spooky Halloween flavor, Candy Corn Bits. Sugary sweet and corn-tastic as well. Remember kiddies, that's Candy Corn Bits cereal. Available only for a limited time at your local grocery.
Hey everybody, welcome back to Rockin' with Rockin Robbie and the 3rd annual Haunted Halloween Super Spooktacular Special! Right now, let's talk about it. It's Halloween, it's a good time of the year to sit back, kick. We all have traditions. We have talked in the past about our Halloween traditions. Lots of cool answers all the time. Tonight, I want to talk about your favorite Halloween tradition in front of the great invention of the 20th century, the television. Holshoe, what you got for me?
Anything Halloween related.
Anything.
Any of my shows that I like, when they do a Halloween episode, I freak the fuck out. I love Halloween, so when you can take one of my other favorite shows and just combine them, they have anything. The Office Halloween, The Simpsons Halloween episodes, any of those shows. Any
TV sitcom or TV show that has a Halloween special, always a treat when I was growing up.
Oh,
and
yeah.
Always really cool. Roseanne.
Oh, yeah.
Always has some really good Halloween episodes. Buffy the Vampire Slayer. Yeah, I know. I go on and on and on about it. Some great Halloween episodes. Supernatural. It's got some great Halloween episodes.
Yes,
So,
most definitely.
Yeah.
any other shows you can think of? I mean, they all did it back in the day. Family Matters, Home Improvement. All those shows had Halloween episodes. I loved them. You mentioned The Simpsons, the Treehouse of Horrors.
Yes.
James, what can you tell me about that?
Well, I'll tell you that of those, my favorite is 4.
Part 4. Okay.
Yeah, where it
Oh,
starts
yeah,
out
Part
with
4.
it's Bart as like a Rod Serling type character, walking around the gallery talking about all the paintings and stuff, leading into the, because that's when Homer sells his soul.
Oh, okay. I remember that.
Yeah.
I haven't watched these things in years, but I remember that. I remember one where Kang and Kudos, they're in like every one, I think.
Almost all of them.
And
show
they
up
come
at some
down at
point.
one and they win. They take all the weapons away from the people, and like Moe or somebody gets a board with the nail in it.
Yeah,
And they just fight back. I also like
that's the one with the monkey paw.
the monkey paw. That's a great, folk
I think
tale.
that's like the second one. I think.
My favorite would definitely be Homer Simpson. It would be the Shining episode. And,
Okay, yeah.
The Shinning.
The Shinning, yes. No TV and no beer make Homer something. Go crazy. Don't mind if I do.
Anybody? Justin? You got a favorite Treehouse of Horror?
I've only seen a couple of them because I really wasn't into The Simpsons that much when I was growing up.
Shame.
But
What did you do as a kid?
I know. They didn't do anything.
I watched old TV shows like The Munsters, which I was about to bring
Oh, I
up.
love the Munsters. Okay, the Munsters. Yeah.
Yeah, they did. That's what I was going to say. One of the things that I've liked to do the last 2 years was watch Mockingbird Lane, the remake that they were going to do.
With Eddie Izzard.
Yeah, Eddie
Yeah.
Izzard and Jerry O'Connell. It's really cool to watch. It didn't get picked up because it was so expensive. I think it cost like $12 million or something stupid like that for the pilot.
Yeah.
It's got some really cool effects, and it's just neat to see them in it, and bring the story back. It's really cool.
Yeah, the Munsters. I'm glad you mentioned that. I really like the Addams Family as well, and the Clorst movies with the great late Raul Julia.
Oh,
right?
yeah.
Holshoe, you got any Simpsons Treehouse of Horror memories?
I can't remember the specific episode, but there's a zombie one where they I think I mentioned this before, that Homer kills Flanders, and they're like, "You Flanders? How'd you know Flanders was a zombie?" And he's like, "Flanders was a zombie?"
I remember that one.
Even though he killed
Yeah,
Flanders.
that's the one where Bart raises the dead because he gets into the library and he finds the occult section.
Nice.
I think that's the same one where the zombies get in the house and they run up to Homer and they're like, brains, and they bang on his head and they just continue onward.
Yeah, they run
Like,
away.
there's no brains there.
Another great holiday tradition on TV is it's the Great Pumpkin, Charlie Brown.
Most definitely.
I mean, who doesn't love seeing that? Who doesn't remember when they were a kid that they watched that? Like every time they would air it. It debuted in 1966. Of course, Peanuts is created by Charles Schultz. And it debuted October 27th in 1966, like we said. It was on CBS, and it aired every single year until 2000. And then in 2001 to today, it airs on ABC.
ABC, yeah, I thought ABC picked it up at one point. But yeah, but every year, it's been run. Every single year.
They used to air the election special right afterwards because Election Day is right after Halloween. Go out and vote. AMC used to have a good thing going with Monster Fest.
Yeah.
Now it's not near as good. But it's always cool to watch Turner movie classics. Absolutely. Because they have some really, really good movies. I encourage you to check them out.
Did they run some of the Universal monster films? What do
Yeah,
they run?
absolutely. They
Okay.
played the Karloffs and Lugosi
Oh,
and the
okay.
Price stuff. They play the classics, man. TMC ain't nothing to joke with.
Yeah, I just rewatched Ed Wood recently.
All right, that leads me to my next question. Everybody has their favorite movies to watch. We have our horror fest, if you will, and everything. So what was the last horror movie you watched in the spirit of Halloween, James? Was it Ed Wood? That's a kind of a comedy, I guess. But what's the last horror movie you watched?
Man, I think that was the last one that was even
Okay.
close. Other than that, I was watching the Treehouse of Horror and stuff. So.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Getting ready for tonight's episode. Drew, what about you?
Last one I actually watched today. I watched Scream.
Great movie. We'll talk about that a little bit more later. Justin, what about you?
Ernest, Scared, Stupid.
Nice. Nice.
We
Yearly
watched that in
tradition.
school.
I got to
don't
give
know
you the
why we
power
watched
jab
in
on that
school.
one.
Yes.
Oh
That's
my
my yearly
God.
Halloween tradition movie.
How about you, Holshoe?
I just watched Oculus with Karen. I don't know her last name.
Karen
she was
Gillian?
I don't know. She was in Doctor Who. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Last one I watched, finally, I know I'm a little bit late, but The Conjuring. Loved The Conjuring. That movie was so good. If you haven't seen it, go see it. Watch it this Halloween. It's great. It's amazing.
Best new horror movie I've seen in a while.
Yeah, it's actually scary. Like, it's creepy. It's got its jump scares, but it's really good.
A 20-minute segment and it got a sequel made. I don't think the sequel was near as good, but it was still
Yeah,
made a sequel.
Annabelle's out right now. Other things we do with our TV, of course, we can play video games. Drew, what can you tell me about favorite Halloween video games?
Let's see. Favorite Halloween. One that actually, the series known for horror, just absolutely would be Silent Hill.
Super Mario Sunshine. Oh wait.
Scary for different reasons. But
Silent Hill.
Silent
Hill's
Hill.
creepy. I've seen it played. I don't play games, but I like watching horror movie games be played. Silent Hill's creepy.
My favorite one to play, especially around Halloween, would definitely be Silent Hill 2. It's my favorite. It's got my favorite antagonist. That would be Pyramid Head. If you ever seen him, he's big, muscular dude, but he's wearing a butcher smock and no head. He's just wearing a giant pyramid, and it drops down to almost like most of his chest is covered by it. He follows you around. You barely fight him off every time, and it's actually the main character's. It's a reflection of the main character's desire to be punished for something that he did.
Spoilers. Did you ever play The Room? Silent Hill 4, The Room?
I did. It's been a while though.
It's like I don't remember if I finished it or not because it was so long ago. But I always thought it was really, really creepy because it's like the movie 1408 when he's stuck in the hotel room. Except I think it's his apartment. But like from what I remember, you're in the apartment the whole game or most of it, and it's a pretty small apartment. So that's just weird, going back and forth from room to room and being
Just
in
two
completely
rooms.
different places.
He's got a studio apartment.
You know, I was talking about watching people play horror movie or horror games because it's kind of creepy if they're done right. I used to think the original Resident Evil games were kind of
Yeah,
kind
they're
of creepy.
phenomenal.
Oh,
They're
yeah.
remaking the first one again.
My favorite out of those would definitely be Nemesis. That was the
Nemesis.
one with the boss that would actually follow you around, and he would just like crash through a wall, and then this crazy music would start. He'd pick up like a rocket launcher, and just you would be scared, and you could
Nope.
run.
All right, other Halloween games. Holshoe, what you got?
I'd probably say the Left 4 Dead series is pretty phenomenal.
All right, we'll be right back here in Huntsville Attic right after this song by Flux, Capacitor, Overdrive. It is, appropriately enough, Demon. back to the Huntsville Attic. That was Flux, Capacitor, Overdrive. Thank those guys very much. A local band. They play a lot. Go listen to them. They're great. Thanks for coming back here in Huntsville Attic. I know you're having fun. We're having fun. It's Halloween. It's the super spooktacular haunted Halloween. Whatever. I said it wrong. Who cares? It's Halloween, everybody. Holler if you hear me. Woo!
Holla if you hear me.
All right.
All right, so we were all talking about what could we talk about for the Halloween special. Well, the king of monsters, Dracula, right? Dracula, give it up for Dracula. I love Dracula. I think Dracula is an amazing fictional character. I absolutely adore the character and the novel. Who likes Dracula? Holshoe, what can you tell me?
He's a vampire. He's the
okay.
king of the vampires. Isn't he? Isn't he loosely based on Vlad the Impaler?
He is loosely based on Vlad the Impaler, who was born in Transylvania in 1431. In 1436, Vlad's father became the ruler of Wallachia. Vlad and his brother Radu were then held political hostage by the Ottoman Turks. His brother rose in favor, while Vlad was resented the Turks.
Oh yeah, Vlad the Impaler was not a very nice person. He did everything that he did. He would impale people. Now he got his name, the Vlad the Impaler. He would just take a person that he disliked, someone that had done him wrong, and he would just sit him on a giant wooden spike and let the blood drip down. He would actually put it in his goblet. He would dip bread in it. That's where the whole blood drinking thing came from.
He drove a Chevy Impala.
Impaler.
That's
But
really
being,
interesting.
being held captive, political hostage, but nonetheless captive by the Turks,
Yeah.
and his brother rising in favor, having to deal with it. I mean, obviously that led to that mentality.
Yeah, he felt threatened, obviously, by his being held captive. That shaped him incredibly.
He eventually, got out. His father passed away. He eventually got out and eventually went to rule Wallachia. And from most of 1456 to 1462, it was off and on, during which he, of course, warred with the Ottoman Empire and his brother, Radu. It's actually a fantastic story, if you really think about it. He had many victories against it, but he was eventually captured and imprisoned, and then eventually escaped from exile, went back, reconquered Wallachia around about 1475. He was killed around the winter of 76, 77. No one really knows the date or the place, hence the mystery.
That's because he's not dead. He's
Yeah, right?
undead.
Well, just recently, they think they found his gravesite and his remains, actually. So as long as they don't pull the stake out, they'll be okay.
Yeah.
And if there's maybe moonlight and some vines growing or something.
And
You never
still,
know.
even though he has the reputation of being Vlad the Impaler, dipping his bread in the blood of his enemies, and a lot of that has been embellished by history and just his reputation. But a lot of that was true. He did impale people in front of his castle as a warning. But in Romania today, he's viewed as a national hero. He had that resentment towards the Turks because he felt that Wallachia needed to maintain freedom. And isn't that what we believe as Americans, right? I mean,
Yes.
this is America, home of freedom.
Freedom.
Woo! So he's a national hero in Romania. And then Bram Stoker obviously wrote Dracula 1897. Who's read that book?
I enjoyed that book immensely.
Uh-oh.
Trick or treat, homies.
Hey, everybody. It's, looks like we've had the attic crashed. It's Alliterative Alicia. Woo! What have you come in to enlighten us with?
I've read Dracula.
What do you think about the book Dracula?
The book, honestly. Well, it's a great book. It can be a little difficult to get through because it's in diary form, and it's.
That's one of my favorite things about it, that it actually stitches together journals and diaries to tell its story.
I don't know.
I like that about it.
I also remember it being, and I could be wrong about this, 1,000,000 pages.
That's not that
You
much.
I
were
remember
very
being
wrong
wrong.
about that.
I was young.
Have you
though.
read it?
Something patience.
I read probably 3/4 of it when I was in junior high.
You stopped when you got to the good part of it, is what you're saying?
Yep.
I didn't know that at the time. I abandoned it. I almost died of boredom.
It's got a really long beginning, but I like the long beginning of Jonathan Harker going into Dracula's castle and all that because it's kind of creepy. It's very suspenseful. It builds it up, and then it becomes something entirely different after that. I really like the novel. I used to read it every year. James, what you think? Jumpin' Jivin, you are about Dracula. The novel.
The novel, it's one of my favorites. I used to read it and Frankenstein.
Frankenstein, by Mary Shelley is great,
excellent book.
Absolutely. Yeah. Drew, you read Dracula?
Yes, I have read Dracula.
Give me your critique on that work of art.
I agree that it can be long to get through. I think you should do it at least once, but just because you get all the classic things. You get the running water, you get the garlic, the holy symbols, you get all the major big weaknesses of vampires. It's something that you need to know just in case.
Yeah, just in case.
It's very essential lore.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's got a giant influence on popular culture and especially vampire fiction. Speaking of vampire fiction, Dracula, I can't really think of a character that's been portrayed by more actors in a film than Dracula. Who are some of your favorite actors who have portrayed Dracula in film? Jumpin' and Jivin James.
Obviously, you have to start off with Lugosi.
Bela Lugosi. I agree. Who's better than him?
Christopher Lee.
No one has
Butler's the best Dracula.
Gerard Butler. Holshoe says Dracula 2000. Anybody agree with that?
You're dead to me, Hammertime. Dead to me.
Guys, though, Christopher Lee, for real?
Christopher Lee was, of course, the
Tall,
star of
Dark,
the
and
Hammer-
gruesome.
Gary Oldman.
Gary Oldman.
Gary
yeah,
Oldman
Gary
was really good.
It was good.
Timothy
one had-
Dalton, who was supposed to be on the show today.
No one's mentioned Frank Langella from the
Yes.
1979 Universal movie, the romantic Dracula film.
The soap opera
Yes.
Dracula.
They
Like,
stare
it was
at
even
each
kind
other a
of
lot.
shot that way too, though. Like lots of just like steady cam and like.
It looked like it was live. You mean?
Yeah, it's like, oh, here's the camera. Go for it, guys.
Drew, dashing you are, sir. Who's your favorite actor to portray Dracula?
It might be Gary Oldman. I haven't seen the brand new Dracula movie that just
Dracula
came.
Untold right
Untold.
now. It's out.
Trying to take the more historical take with just a little bit of the supernatural, how he started off, how he becomes the monster. I think though, actually, the movie Bram Stoker's Dracula with Gary Oldman, I think I'd watch that one if I was going to watch one.
That's the Dracula. It's obvious. Like all the actors who portray Dracula take their cue from Bela Lugosi.
Mm-hmm.
Gary Oldman didn't. Gary Oldman took his cue from the book. That was one of the first times that actually ever happened. I think the Bela Lugosi obvious, but the guy who played Dracula in Buffy and that made-for-TV movie Dracula Prince of Darkness or whatever, same actor, he's really good. And it's a very
I think you're just
historically
obsessed
accurate-
with Buffy.
I'm just saying,
Yeah.
guys. Just saying.
Is anybody going to mention Max Shrek?
Actually, I was about to.
Well, he didn't play Dracula.
Well,
not
Count
officially.
Orlok. He played Count Orlok. Of course, Nosferatu was 1922. And it was the first adaptation, I believe, of Bram Stoker's Dracula. Because it was an adaptation of Dracula.
And unauthorized.
Yeah, but they had to
unauthorized.
change the names.
Yeah.
I thought Max Shrek was the bad guy in Batman Returns.
I was just
It
thinking
is.
about
Yeah.
that,
It
too.
is. That's funny. And Willem Dafoe played Max Shrek in Shadow of the Vampire, the John Malkovich
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
vampire classic.
But, dude, I don't
Movie's
think there's
creepy.
a more creepy image ever in film than the staircase with Orlok going up it and you just see the shadow on the wall.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, that's like the creepiest image of all time. And to think that only one copy of that film survived, because a judge, like Bram Stoker's family, sued
Oh, yeah.
those people, and the judge said that all the copies of the film had to be destroyed, and only one survived. And it's insane that it's survived and it's so popular today.
It was meant to happen.
yeah.
It was
and you
meant
can get
to
it with
happen.
like 20 different people doing the score for it.
So Nosferatu is probably the first adaptation of the work of Stoker, but there are many more. What's your favorite Dracula film? Hammertime Holshoe.
Can we come back to me so I can think about it? for a
Absolutely.
second?
Dashing Drew.
Definitely Bram Stoker's, man.
Bram Stoker's Dracula. Francis Ford Coppola, 1992.
Yep.
Academy darling in special effects.
Yes.
They used practical effects in that, didn't they?
Yeah.
Most
Those
of
are
them,
all
yes.
practical.
There was no
effects.
CG in that movie at all.
92.
Good.
I mean, it would have been, yeah, it would have looked bad.
Yeah.
Alliterative Alicia, since you're amongst us.
The Universal film.
The Universal film, the 1931, Bela Lugosi. I'm going to agree with her. Jumpin and Jivin James.
I mean, in general, yeah, I kind of have to agree. It's
Yeah.
the very first one.
I mean, come on. I mean, maybe it's a little dated, but I still enjoy watching it every year. Edward Van Sloan as Van Helsing, David Manners as Harker, and Rainfeld in that movie. By the way, the Coppola film, that's Tom Waits who plays Rainfeld. And that's awesome. Renfield's one of my favorite characters from the Dracula novels. Favorite Dracula movie, Justified Justin.
I'm gonna say Bram Stoker's 92, but I really have always been interested, and I don't know how I've never seen it, in the one with Christopher Lee. Because when I actually picture Dracula in my head, I picture Christopher Lee. I picture Dracula having that voice.
I just thought of one. There's actually an anime film called Vampire Hunter D Bloodlust. It's very much the Dracula story, of taking the woman, wanting to be with the woman, and although the main character is D, the vampire hunter, it's very
D who?
good. Yes.
I'm gonna go with Leslie Nielsen.
Oh, Dracula, Dead and Loving. And Mel
Yeah.
Brooks.
Mel Brooks.
Not so classic. Not so
No,
classic.
no, it's not.
Probably
Remember, it's his best
worst
film.
movie, actually.
Yeah.
Not the greatest Mel Brooks film.
No.
No.
No, not at all.
All right, I'm gonna go carve my jack-o'-lantern. I'll catch y'all later.
Jack-o'-lantern!
Vic.
Bye.
All right, everybody. Speaking of carving jack-o'-lanterns, I know you're getting your house ready. You're getting ready to celebrate. You're eating lots of candy, carving your pumpkins, and you got a Halloween party. Maybe you're hosting one. If you're hosting a Halloween party, you haven't quite got all your ideas figured out. Luckily, Justified Justin is here to save the day, as he did last year. Give us your haunted Halloween party tips with Justified Spooky Goldsmith.
Spooky.
Yeah. Like Spooky Mulder. It's
Go
like
ahead.
X-Files. What a cool name. All right. So there's this thing that my family has did when I was growing up, and we haven't done it in a couple of years, but I really want to do it this year. We used to take white yarn, and we would start at the corner of the front porch, and over the entire front yard, we would you basically make a huge spider web that came down from the corner of the porch to each corner of the yard, and you stick a black light up under it, and you get like the huge leaf trash bags and fill them up with leaves because they're dead this time of year and they're handy, and you make a big spider to go up under it. So when the kids are walking by at night, you got this huge glow in the dark spider web in your front yard.
Oh, that's really cool. I like that.
Yeah.
We should do that at my house this year because ain't no kids walking by your house.
You're right. Also, to go with that, if you've got a front porch swing, or if not, you can use a chair. They're portable. But
Are they?
Really?
Lots of
They
people-
are.
Lots of people do like scarecrows and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But what you can do is you can put a scarecrow up if you want, and also, or in lieu of,
The wolves are out.
you put on like one of the Mike Myers coverall suits
Yeah.
and a mask, and just go sit down on your porch
Yep.
and wait for some kids to show up, knock on the door or wait right before it, and then just jump up, boom, scare the crap out of them.
Back in high school, there was a Halloween store in Madison Square Mall. They had a guy doing that in store. You're just
Oh my
thinking he's a
God.
mannequin, and all of a sudden he jumps out and just scares the crap out of you.
That's
man.
amazing.
It was great. Anything else you got for us?
Lots of candy, obviously. There's one thing that we do every year. We make this cider.
Oh.
You get a bunch of apple cider. It doesn't have to be great apple cider. It can be cheap.
Nah, you won't need it for this.
You put it in a huge pot on the stove and put a bunch of cinnamon sticks in it. And let it boil for a little, or simmer or whatever for a little while. Cook it down, and then you add a bunch of Everclear. This is for the adults, obviously.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely an adult
Well, I do
beverage.
this, but with rum, and you do Everclear.
Yeah.
We're
and you-
cheap. We
yeah.
want to get, we want to have a fun time.
Yeah, but
going
you
for
can
quantity.
you can make tons of this, and it doesn't take very much. So you have it for like a week.
Nice. Well, thank you for those party tips. And of course, the most ultimate party tip for your Halloween party is always at least 3 times play Dead Man's Party by Oingo Boingo. All right, everybody, thanks for joining us. We will be right back here on Rockin' with Rockin' Robbie in the Huntsville Attic after this in-house message, actually. Just wanted to point that out. I work hard on these promos. So, spooky sound.
God, get off!
Be sure to join us for the next exciting episode of The Smile or Else Show. It's the most wonderful time of the year, so kick back, grab some eggnog, and prepare yourself for A Very Smile or Else Christmas, hosted by Jolly John Hammertime Holshoe, along with a cheerful collection of guests. A Very Smile or Else Christmas, the best thing since roasting chestnuts over an open fire.
Welcome back to the Haunted Halloween Super Spooktacular Special here in Rockin' with Rockin Robbie. Huntsville Attic, I'm Rockin Robbie, and I got a whole plethora of awesome gifts. God bless you, Hammertime Holshoe. Stop that, we're on air. All right, speaking of on air, Wes Craven.
Allergic to James.
Wes Craven just celebrated his 75th birthday.
Indeed.
And is about to celebrate the 30th anniversary of
A Nightmare on Elm Street.
Exactly.
Amazing.
Hammertime Holshoe is our resident Wes Craven analyst. Please tell me a little bit about what you can tell me about Wes Craven.
Okay, I've got all these facts here about Timothy Dalton.
This is, come on, man, come on.
Like next month, if you end up listening to this episode after Halloween, maybe you were late listening to the show, but so November
Shame on
is
them.
the 30th anniversary of A Nightmare on Elm Street, probably his most famous work.
It's crazy that movie came out in November.
Yeah, as you think now they have all these usually B films they push, like we must get this film edited and out before Halloween to be the big Halloween film.
Halloween H2O came out in August, if I remember right.
You want to get them out before Halloween. It might have still been in the theater then. But it came out in November. It's crazy. But that was his first that's his biggest franchise probably, other than the Scream franchise is pretty big. I won't knock that. But Wes Craven, he turned 75 years old last year. He's a writer, director, producer. Wow. He's an actor, but not like a big-time actor. He's not in bit parts, because he's famous for the horror genre. His first directing debut was Last House on the Left in 1972.
Excellent film, actually.
Mm-hmm. Great film.
Of the genre.
He did several other films. I mean, he produced, wrote. I mean, he was all over the map. He did Hills Have Eyes. He did DC's Swamp Thing in 82.
Yeah. Not so good movie, but yeah, he did it.
Yeah. And then, of course, 84, which 30 years next month.
Nightmare on Elm Street.
Nightmare on Elm Street. And he followed that with, he did more films. He did a variety of films. He did do Music of the Heart. He did some non-horror films.
He considers Music of the Heart like his
best
passion.
Yeah, it's highly regarded.
Starring the...
I know Meryl Streep's in it. I forget who else is in it. Yeah, so... But he did, let's see, Shocker, The People Under the Stairs, The Hills Have Eyes, Hills Have Eyes 2, Vampire in Brooklyn. Ugh. Yeah, he's done. He's done a bunch of films, and then he sort of brought the genre back to where it started, in my opinion, with the Scream films. And I love the Scream films that they sort of like poke fun at the horror genre, like they're fully aware of those films that he helped create. So the film franchise, obviously, the Scream franchise, I mean, was gigantic.
Yeah, and of course, Nightmare on Elm Street.
Yeah, Nightmare on Elm Street is probably his I can say his legacy is
I had
Nightmare
some
on Elm
remakes.
Street.
They remade Last House on the Left and The Hills Have Eyes.
Yeah. They remade a first Nightmare on Elm Street.
Yeah, they did, actually.
I
forgot about that one.
Yeah, let's try to forget about it. And then as far as the Nightmare films, he did the first one. So he wrote and directed the first one. He co-wrote the third one, which is Dream Warriors.
Dream Warriors!
And then he came back and wrote and directed the last one, which was a New Nightmare.
New Nightmare.
Kind of bookend. Yeah, those are probably the three strongest.
Those are my three favorite Elm
they're
Street
the best
movies.
films of the series, in my opinion. My favorite horror franchise, I'll be honest, I'm biased. I love the Freddy Krueger films. When I was a kid, Jason scared the shit out of me because we lived out in the woods and I thought Jason was real. I was a little kid. I probably shouldn't watch those films.
Jason,
okay.
Yeah.
But I go back and watch
series.
them, and Freddy's a much better character, more original character.
I mean, I like Freddy Krueger.
Yeah, they're phenomenal.
Supernatural,
And,
But he gets too
strong.
goofy.
Yeah.
He does get very goofy.
He does get goofy.
All the horror monsters get goofy. All right, we got Nightmare, we got Scream. I'm sure we'll get to them. Hammertime Holshoe, enlightening presentation. What's your favorite Wes Craven movie?
A Nightmare on Elm Street. The
Nightmare on Elm
original, the
Street,
first one.
You can't go against. I mean, come on.
Yeah, people are like, well, he's such not a serious character in the comedy. Well, not the original. First off, the original film was very dark. And even though he shows back up in the tail end of the film, it was never the intention. There wasn't going to be any sequels, much less several sequels. Yeah. They sort of turn him in this, this big franchise, but that was not the original intention of the film. So the first film is very dark, and it's great. And I think if you notice too, his films deal a lot with reality and the perception of reality. That's sort of Wes Craven's.
Well, the Elm Street films were based on true articles that he read about people that actually saw somebody in their dreams and had the same dreams.
Yeah, so he did the idea of dreams and. Yeah. Because obviously in the dreams, when you're in a dream, you can't. Obviously, nightmares, you can't tell.
Another thing, Wes Craven.
He only writes the stories when he's having dreams himself.
Really?
When they come back.
That's right. According to New Nightmare. Another really cool thing about him is he really believes that everybody's got that dark side inside of them, and a lot of his films deal with the darkness inside. Last House on the Left, who are the villains? Because the parents respond just as bad as the perpetrators of the violence. And Nightmare on Elm Street, who's worse? Freddy Krueger. Of course, he's terrible. Or the parents for what they did. Yeah. Now, obviously, they're justified, right? But
they're justified.
You have to recognize that darkness lies within you, and that's something I like about Wes Craven. My favorite is, of course, Nightmare on Elm Street, but I give a close second to Scream. Scream was really good. The way it defined the rules of a horror movie, like you were talking about, how it just plays on horror movies. It's a great parody and a great horror movie. I can't think of anything that's a great parody of something and a great something that they were parodying. You know what I'm saying? Like, Scary Movie, it ain't. I guess I should say. Drew, what's your favorite Wes Craven movie?
That would definitely be Scream. I love the entire franchise, man. I've seen all of them several times.
You even
I'd
love
agree
3?
with you minus 3.
Yeah, I was going to say.
I've seen 3 probably the most just because it reran on HBO, I think. And I'd just be on. I'd have it on.
It has Jay and Silent Bob.
Yeah,
it does. It does. Hey, is that not a plus? Come on.
That is. But yeah, the Scream movies are good. 1, 2, 4. 4 was amazing.
Yes, it was.
Jumpin and Jivin James.
I really love New Nightmare.
Phenomenal
New
film.
Nightmare's good.
Yeah, and they kind of turned the whole thing like, oh, this wasn't real, blah, blah, blah. Or this is real or whatever. I like the whole concept and bringing her back. It's phenomenal. It's a great film.
The little kid's creepy.
Yeah. Every time Freddy jumps out of that closet, it freaks me out too, by the way. That jump scare right there always gets me. I know it's coming. It happens. Big shouts out, I'm serious. Dream Warriors. Dream Warriors.
Phenomenal film.
Absolutely. And obviously, we love Nightmare on Elm Street. We love the Scream movies. We love some of his other movies. People Under the Stairs, Serpent and the Rainbow, Hills Have Eyes, Last House on the Left. But he's had some duds. He's had some major duds. So, not to end on a bad note on him, but he's got some major duds. Everybody's got some duds. And I think we might all choose the same couple. So I'm going to go first and say Vampire in Brooklyn.
Yep.
Yeah. I mean,
yeah.
Eddie Murphy and Wes Craven wanted that to be a very serious movie. Like, Eddie Murphy wanted to play a very horrific villainous character because it's something he doesn't do.
Nope.
But the studio was like, no, you're Eddie Murphy. We're paying you to be funny. So it's the weird struggle between trying to be funny and trying to be creepy that make that movie so superbly bad.
Yeah. I always get that confused with the Vampire or Dracula Dead and Loving It because it's like a bizarre. I'm like, is this a comedy or is this serious?
So
because
that's yours, Holshoe? Andrew?
I'm not. Yeah, it's terrible.
Anybody else got Vampire in Brooklyn?
Yeah, I'd definitely say I'm up there with that one. I can't think of anything.
Swamp Thing's pretty bad.
Yeah,
I remember one time we were excited to watch it, James and I, and we watched it and we were like, "Oh man!"
Well, because it's one of those things it's like, hey, all directors know not to use crazy wipes, and there's all those crazy wipes and dissolves in that movie.
That
You're like,
what?
Isn't it What's Her Face from Melrose Place?
She's in the sequel.
Oh, who's the first?
Return of the Swamp Thing.
Oh, okay, never mind.
It's Adrienne Barbeau. From
I just remember it being as much as. I couldn't put my head around the fact that it was a DC Comics character and that it feels like a Roger Corman film.
So Wes Craven, our hats off to you if we were wearing hats, but we're not. So our drinks.
Yeah.
Oh, I knocked over the Freddy figure.
Oh, how appropriate.
He'll come back.
He always comes back.
Well, sadly, that brings us to an end of another Haunted Halloween Super Spooktacular Special. Our third one, guys. Our third one. Let's give ourselves a pat on the back about that one. Yeah, third one.
I'm just
Third
gonna
one.
pat John a little bit.
Yeah,
A
John.
little more
and,
to the left and lower.
John and,
you knocked
all
over
the toys are falling. John
Damn
and,
it.
John and Justin were here last year. Drew's here for the first time, and James and I have been
Last
here
time.
for all three.
Yeah.
So we hope you join us for the 4th annual. And coming up, we got the Smile Rail show. We're gonna be talking about Christmas. That's right, a Christmas special coming up.
What about the Thanksgiving special?
I think we're skipping that.
Oh.
The only good. What?
We
maybe
just
should.
record like 2 hours of us
Thanksgiving.
eating.
We can talk about we can talk about Thanksgiving. Good
But we're-
movie.
Yeah. So the Christmas special coming up. I'm excited. So enjoy your Thanksgiving. Enjoy your Christmas. We'll be back with Rockin Robbie in the beginning of 2015. Oh my goodness, 2015.
That's too long.
2015.
Too long.
Well, we appreciate you, and we're going to end you with the thought of the day. Today's thought for the day will be presented by Justified Justin.
Yes, this thought of the day comes to you from my fortune cookie that I got at Chinese buffet in Huntsville about 4.5 hours ago as of this recording. It says, "Be cautious while walking in darkness alone." And if you don't believe I got that in a fortune cookie, there's a picture of it on Facebook. I did not know what to think when I read it.
And then he was murdered shortly after.
Be very
All right,
afraid.
viewers, listeners, thank you for joining us. With me once again has been Justified Justin,
Hello!
Jumpin and Jivin James,
Farewell, my friends.
You ended, Goldsmith, you ended with hello.
Hammertime Holshoe.
Thanks for having me here.
All right, and of course, our debut of Dashing Drew.
Damn good to be here.
On behalf of everybody here, have a safe and hauntingly spooktacular Halloween. Thanks for rocking with us.
Boo!